Outdoor mask use is being scrapped and Victorians will be able to host up to 30 people for Christmas under relaxed COVID rules announced today. Meanwhile, New South Wales authorities have announced the border with Victoria will reopen from midnight tonight. We'll hear from Michaela Ortolan in Albury in a moment, but here's reporter Margaret Paul on those eased restrictions in Melbourne.
Some really significant changes here in Victoria as we record another day of 0 new coronavirus infections. That's the 23rd in a row. So from tomorrow, 15 Victorians will be able to gather indoors in people's homes and up to 50 outdoors. But that changes in time for Christmas or Hanukkah. On the 13th of December, up to 30 people will be allowed to gather inside people's homes, which is a really significant step. I've spoken to, even just since the press conference finished about half an hour ago, several families who've called to say what a significant step that will be to be able to get extended families all together in the same house in time for Christmas at the end of what's been an extremely difficult year for many Victorians. As you mentioned, the Premier's also announced changes around masks. So at the moment, Victorians are required to wear a mask at all times when outside their home. That will change from midnight tonight. So we won't have to wear masks outdoors as long as physical distancing can be observed. The Premier had a bit more to say about just how you should understand when and where to take a mask. Let's hear from the Premier, Daniel Andrews.
Masks will be required inside, in all settings inside. They will not be required when you are outside. However, you need to carry the mask with you because you will need to wear the mask outside if you can't distance. So to give you perhaps a fairly common sense example, if you go to Bunnings and you're in the store, you wear your mask. If you're in the car park, you don't have to wear your mask. But if you're queuing up for a sausage and you're with other people and you are simply not keeping your distance, you're part of a crowd, you need to put the mask on.
Daniel Andrews there. And Margaret, there was an announcement as well about office staff returning to the workplace. Just take us through the details.
Yeah, so office staff in Victoria have been working from home for months now, but there was news today on when they can return to the office, so that's very significant. The announcement was that by the end of November, the 30th of November, up to 25% of staff can return to the workplace, to those offices. Now, there will be a lot of work that will have to be done around making sure that staff can stagger their work times, making sure people aren't all in the lifts at the same time, things like communal workspaces, kitchens and things like that. And as well as things like public transports where you will still have to wear your mask on the way into the office and on the way out at the end of the day. But that's a really significant announcement that 25% of your workforce could be back in the office at the end of November. There were also other changes announced around weddings and funerals. They will increase to 150 people from tomorrow. The Chief Health Officer has advised, but it's not a rule, no dancing at weddings. And there'll also be changes to hospitality. Bigger venues can have up to 150 people and smaller venues up to 50 people with density limits as well. And smaller venues will be required to have QR codes in place.
Really major steps. They're on the road to recovery for Victoria. Let's turn now to reporter Michaela Ortolan, who is on the New South Wales side of the border with Victoria. Michaela, you're at Albury. How is this reopening being received there?
Well, as you can imagine, everyone, the local community is so excited about the reopening of this border, and it's been welcome news since we first heard that it will reopen at 12:01 in the morning on Monday. Now, the borders have been closed for just over 19 weeks now, and we've heard of so many stories of families being separated, businesses having to close down, and lots of heartache and heartbreak across the region. So there will be a countdown, I guess, tonight. We're hearing that someone will be set up here where I am today, just out front the border checkpoint with a DJ set, and they're hoping to draw just a small crowd, obviously abiding by those COVID restrictions, to count down until the border lifts at midnight. Now, the Premier was also in town today. It's the second time she's visited since the borders were closed in early July. She apologised once again for the heartache that it has caused, particularly on border communities, and she said that she hopes that these borders will never have to close again. But take a listen to what she did have to say.
since July 9. We know how difficult it has been for our border communities in the Victorian, New South Wales border area, border regions, to have to put up with the border closure. And I was just saying to some locals that I bumped into that we never want to see this ever again. We hope this is the last time that in our lifetime this border is closed. And we know tomorrow morning after midnight it will be a whole new era for both of our states.
Gladys Berejiklian there. And Michaela, what else did authorities have to say about the border operation?
Well, the pack-down, as you can see behind me, is well and truly underway now. It's been taking place across the weekend in hope that at midnight tonight there will be no evidence that this operation was in place. It has been a huge task force to set it up. It was set up in just over 30 hours in the first place, and we've seen over 500 officers every 5 days rotate through the checkpoints across the border footprint, including ADF staff who were supporting during the busiest peaks of that time. So let's hope that it is a hot day here today, so all those officers are standing out there in the sun. The marquees have been taken down already, so we hope they aren't too hot out there, but let's hope by midnight tonight there will be free-flowing traffic once again, and people will be able to reunite with family and loved ones on both sides of the border finally.